Hi guys, this is Donna. Welcome to my channel. So if you're a loner or an introvert and you don't really like the idea of learning English with someone else and you would be better off, learning English on your own, then this video is for you. I cannot stress enough how much watching movies and drama can help you. It can help you in many ways. In terms of helping, I would say that it helps you better to know how to speak, to get a hold on the accent, and also it helps you with your listening skills. That means that when you're listening to them constantly, you'd really understand what they're saying at one point. And sometimes we don't really understand certain accents, when someone's talking. So listening a movie or a drama or anything related to that accent really helps a lot. In case of English or any other language, if you know how to speak very well, if you have good listening capabilities, that means you understand no matter which accent they are using, and if you know how to write in that language, if you know how to read in that language, that means you're almost good at that language and you know how to process with that language on your daily life. And watching movies and dramas actually helps two of this thing. One is listening and other one is speaking. So I believe that watching dramas and watching movies can help you in a way which no one else can. Watching movies and watching dramas is giving you two benefits. It's making you learn two things at the same time. So that's why I really think that watching dramas is something that you can do if you are alone, when you don't really have a partner or you don't want to have a partner while learning a language. This thing really helps a lot. There are countless people who have learned a certain language by only watching the dramas and the content, maybe a certain series or lot of movies. There are many people. I bet many of you are BTS fans, so if you are a BTS fan,
You speak English, right?
Yes.
So pretty well. You taught yourself English?
Yes, I taught myself English.
How did you teach yourself English?
Actually, my English teacher was the sitcom Friends.
Oh, you
Yes,
watched
legend.
Friends?
Yes.
So was it mainly just phrases then, or you just learned everything?
I think, back in the days, like when I was like 15, like 14,
Yeah.
it was quite like a syndrome for all the Korean parents to make their kids watch the Friends.
Really?
So yeah, I thought I was kind of like a victim at that time, but but right now I'm the lucky one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like thanks to my mother, she bought all the seasons for DVDs. Like, it got 10 DVDs, right?
Right.
She bought me, and so firstly I watched with the Korean subtitle, and then next time I watched with the English subtitle, and then I just removed it.
That's very impressive, and friends would be very happy that you learned.
Thank you.
But when it comes to learning English by watching dramas and movies and all of that, it's very important to keep in mind that you're actually learning from it. That means that when we are watching a movie or a drama, we get very lost in having fun and understanding the movie, the content and all of that, and we don't really pay attention whether we are learning something new related to the language and all of that, and we go for the translation more often. But we should not be doing that. Even if it's important to have fun while watching the content, but you also should keep in mind that I have to learn something when I finish this movie, or I have to be learning something when I finish this drama, or any kind of content. At the beginning, try to watch movies and dramas with the subtitles, and when you feel like you can understand everything without the subtitles, then try to skip the subtitles, like turn off the subtitle options and watch the drama or the movie without this. Even still, if you face trouble, then you can always go back to the subtitles again, but try not to, and try to be more comfortable without the subtitles. And this way you will be paying attention towards the accent, the vocabs they are using, and the way they are pronouncing the words. I feel like subtitles kind of restricts you from paying attention to the pronunciation, so it's important for you to pay attention without the subtitles to be good at pronunciation. I feel like people who are not really comfortable learning with someone else or taking someone's help in learning English, it's very beneficial if you're watching TVs or series or Netflix every single day, because in some way you're interacting with a person and you are learning how people are talking in that language, what kind of words they're using, what kind of sentences are very common, and what kind of phrases are very common that they use on a day-to-day life basis. The phrase and all of that stuff they're using in the movie, those are actually the basic stuff we also may be using in our daily life. So I feel like if you are not a person who likes to practice with someone on a regular basis, this thing can be a very good choice. Listening to podcast or music can be actually very beneficial, especially if you're a person who spends a lot of time alone in their home or even outside. You are most probably listening to some kind of podcast, or maybe you are a big fan of music. Now, I would say that listening to podcast or music, it's something that you won't understand at the very beginning. So if you're a beginner, it's not really for you. If you're like in an intermediate level and you understand a lot of words, and if you can make out sentences out of different words, then this is for you. That means if you're in intermediate level, then you can listen to podcasts and music and you can actually understand what they are trying to say. And if you don't understand something, there are going to be like some basic words or maybe phrases that you might not understand, and you can always Google it up on your own and you can get the meaning very easily. So I feel like, when you are learning something in a fun way, whether it's a language or anything, but the process is fun, then we get more and more interested in it, and it's like easier to understand and is easier to kind of capture. So I believe that if you're interested in podcast or music, try to understand the lyrics, and in case of podcast, try to understand what they're trying to say. But of course, you're going to face a lot of troubles at the beginning. You're not going to understand a lot of phrases, a lot of vocabularies, even sentences. So I would suggest that whenever you are not understanding a certain part of that podcast or the music, the lyrics and everything, you have to Google it up. Like, we generally don't do that. When we don't understand something, we rather skip it than Googling it up and checking what's actually matter. But it's very important to understand what's actually limiting you and get out of it, get over it. So I hope next time when you're listening to a podcast and music, you'll just not skip all the troubling parts and you will actually look it up on Google. I believe that's going to help you in many ways. I believe that we all talk to ourselves on a regular basis. Like, that's a constant thing. Many people will agree, many will not. Like, many of my students agree that yes, I talk to myself, and many not. But if you're talking to yourself, you are the most honest person at that time. When we are talking to ourselves, we are the most honest person. We are not afraid of any kind of judgment. We are not anxious. We are, like, there is no any kind of risk and no one's going to make fun of us. So we can entirely be ourselves. And that's why talking to yourself in English can be very, very beneficial. So next time when you're talking to yourself, why not talk in English? You can talk yourself about many things. I bet you all have a certain idea on how you talk to yourself on a regular basis. But if you're new to this, I can give you some kind of idea. You can talk to yourself about many things, but it should not be extreme. Let me be very clear about it. You should be talking with people also. Like, it should not be something you're obsessed with. Talking with yourself will clear up your mind in many ways and give a good insight about how you're feeling about certain things, but it should not be something that you're obsessing over and you're not really communicating very well with the people around you. So you can talk with you in many ways. Like, maybe you wake up in the morning and you're planning your day and you just think and talk to yourself, tell yourself, how am I going to plan the day, what I'm going to do today, what kind of things I want to involve into today. And at the night, when you're done with your day, you're resigning off the day, you can tell yourself, how did I feel today, what was the better parts, what were the highlights, what do I have to improve, how am I feeling about the day. Anxiousness and fear of judgment is actually two things that limits us from many things, like being good at a certain thing that we are not very used to. There are many new things that we want to pursue in our life, but because of anxiousness and because of the fear of judgment, we don't really go for it. So being honest with yourself and talking to yourself is a time when you are not really anxious and you're not afraid of any kind of judgment, because no one is there to make the judgments. So it's a perfect opportunity for you to train yourself in the better way and be good at it. When it comes to learning a language, I bet you all have heard that reading is very important. Like, you should be reading books in that language to actually understand a lot of things about the language, like the sentence structure, the vocabulary they are using, the grammatical uses, and all of that. It's actually essential when it comes to learning a language, and it's also something that you do on your own. It's not something that you have to do with a group or you have to do with people, you know. It's something that you constantly put your own time alone focusing on all of this criteria. But when it comes to reading and learning a language, we all make some common mistakes. And I'm going to talk about that mistakes and how you can avoid them. When we are reading a book in a certain language which we are constantly trying to learn, we actually know a lot of things about the language. We know the words, we know the alphabets, and that's why we started our reading process. But when we are reading, we face a lot of difficulties because we don't really know much about the vocabulary, about the grammatical uses and the sentences. So we might end up not understanding a lot of things of the book. So we should be very, very patient at that time. Patience is the key when it comes to reading, and I believe that if you have to be a good reader, you have to have that immense level of patience, because even if you're not learning a language, if it's just simple reading, still you have to have a lot of patience. So next time when you're reading a book and you don't understand a certain thing, maybe you're not understanding a vocabulary or a part of the sentence or a phrase, you try to Google it up. Just don't let it be there, and actually try to look up the problems that you're facing. That means that when we generally face a problem, we try to ignore it our best. Like, we don't really pay attention. We feel like, okay, I'm not understanding it, let it be, you know, let's end the reading session. But we should not be actually doing that, because doing this will actually limit you in many ways, and you might never end up, you know, learning that certain thing. So it's very important that you are giving much attention to your book when you're reading it. Just read one page one day, but when you're reading that one page, you have to have that full attention toward that page. You will not understand a lot of things if you're a beginner at reading. So when you're not understanding a lot of things, try to underline those and Google it up and then write it down, that okay, this is the meaning of this phrase or this word or this vocab and all of that. This will help you learn a lot of things. By reading this way, you will know about a lot of vocabulary that you would never even know if you would not read. You will know how the sentence are actually structured, because while we are speaking, our sentence are not really grammatically correct. We have a lot of grammatical errors that we make. But if you're reading a book, the sentences there, they are grammatically correct, and you are, you know, studying in the correct way. When I first learned Bangla, I was only learning from the books because I was a loner. I didn't have much friends. So the only way I could learn the words, the vocabulary, and all of that was just by reading the book. So I know how much it helps. The Bangla I use and the way I speak Bangla most of the time is grammatically correct. That's because I'm using the language I got from the book. So I feel like if you're, you know, learning from a book by reading and reading again and again, that makes the way you learn very easier and in a very good way, and you will not have much communication problems in the future with other people. So these were the tips that I had to give you today when it comes to learning English alone. You don't need anyone, literally anyone, to follow these steps. So I hope this journey of you learning English will be very, very pleasant. Although I'm advising people who actually prefers to learn English alone, if you still have any kind of question, please DM me or leave a comment down below and let me know if you like the video. And if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and share the video to the person who likes to be alone but wants to learn English. Bye.